Bat Force Radio.
Bat Force Radio is rated M for mature, or should that be immature?
Hey guys, Dustin Wynn.
Hey, this is Scott Snyder.
This is Paul Dini.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
You're listening to Bat Force Radio.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, and you're listening to Bat Force Radio, so stay tuned.
Welcome to Bat Force Radio, the Batman/DC podcast with no limits on our kicking off our 11th season with a fun book review tonight. I got Grandpa Batman over in Texas.
Howdy.
I got Teases over in New Jersey.
Oh, baby, it's cold outside.
We're in the midst of a blizzard right now over here in the tri-state area.
27 inches over here.
Hey,
you guys have had a rough winter.
It is insane.
We've had a traditional winter. We've had mild winters for a couple of years, and this is really what a normal winter is. But people got a little soft, over there.
That's true.
Time. I'm actually really enjoying this winter. It actually feels like winter. It feels weird when it's mild. I like the seasons. So we just had a blizzard, but I didn't think it was anything that serious. It doesn't seem. But other parts of the state and other states in general, I guess, accumulated more snow. So
I think it's one of those things where we just didn't expect to get so many inches within like 12 hours. We're just not used to that. Yeah.
Whoa, Sky.
Ho.
It's a lot of too much information.
This is a family program. We got
family program.
We got to bleep that out.
Absolutely not.
So I'm really excited tonight. It's funny because this book that we're about to review came out in 2022, and it feels like I can't believe it's that's 4 freaking years already, right? Like I thought.
Yeah.
I just feels a little more fresh. I guess because it kind of wasn't a blip on our radar at the time. We knew we were going to get to it, but never got around to it. I think at one point we thought we might have. Then like, oh, maybe we didn't. But I'm very excited about tonight's review, which is Batman: One Dark Knight, written, drawn, colored by Jock, artist over in the UK. Everybody knows Jock from that famous, iconic Joker cover with the bats. I think that was a Detective Comics cover.
He sold that original artwork, and I mean, it sold for a lot. I forget the exact amount, but it was crazy.
I think the actual issue goes for a lot too. It's a well planned out cover. He's good with cover. He's good at covers.
For sure. If it's not the Killing Joke, I think people resonate with that Jock cover. It's all over merchandise. It's all over just different, versions of the color cover. It's very well known in pop culture, right?
Jock likes a lot of ink. He likes a lot of negative space. He likes a lot of contrast. That's his thing. And he's fun. I remember in All-Star Batman series, I loved how he drew Batman in the Arctic suit.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just so cool. And he likes the color blue because this One Dark Knight book by Black Label we're about to cover has a lot of blue and black in it. And I like it. I like his color theory.
He doesn't do just comics. I mean, he's been hired by Star Wars to do, layouts and clothing design and character design and storyboarding and he's a very well-rounded and well-known artist.
I think Snyder sought him out, if I remember correctly. He said at one time that he knew about him and he really wanted to get him on something. I think that's how it went down. I met him once, Jock. Cool. He's a
very nice guy.
Very nice British bloke. He's really cool. really, really just just a regular kind of guy, and but his art is just pretty.
He actually has a art book called The Art of Jock, and I remember I went down to Austin for MondoCon. It was one of the early MondoCons, and he was the featured guest, and sat through a panel and listened to him talk about, how he came up in his early works and how he came up to be with DC and all that. And he was really cool because if you bought the book, it was kind of like Willy Wonka. He had a golden ticket inside one of the books, and that golden ticket, you got an actual, I think like 8.5 by 11 or piece of original art. And when I went up to pay for it, he was signing them, and I was like, "Oh man, I didn't win." He was like, he took my book and he kind of looked at it and he goes, "Oh, this one's kind of got a creased corner. Maybe you should go pick up another one." Wink, wink. He gave me a second chance. He is such a cool, funny guy, though.
Yeah. Sheesh, damn, that's amazing.
So this book, I mean, it was kind of, he's always been the artist. He's been, he was with Scott Snyder. They did Witches together. He did some in the regular Batman main title. But he's always been the artist. And this is his first book where he actually wrote the plot and drew the art himself. I mean, he did everything.
So I really like stories that are very linear. I like stories that take place in one night. I probably mentioned that before. I don't know why. I like movies like that too. Just a straight linear story overnight. This one is it's a very straightforward, action-packed story. Actually, it really could be its own little animated episode or movie. It's a nice, fun, high-paced. Right out the gate, you're on the road, high-paced. Basically, the main idea of the story is that Batman is trying to help transport this metahuman called EMP from Arkham Asylum to Blackgate.
What I like about that is that Jock made up his own character as, I don't know, I wish that he had given us a little more backstory on this EMP metahuman, but this is his own creation. It wasn't like, oh, they're transporting the Joker. I mean, that's been done before. And there's a reason why, this story is called One Dark Night. He created this whole premise basically around this one character. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's something with it's like he pulsates. I don't even know what it is. Electromagnetic, maybe?
Yeah,
from
electromagnetic.
Solar. And the solar energy fuels that. That's why they were trying to get in the Blackgate before the sun came up.
I think he's also just like a blocker, right? I think as he charges up or as he's being transported, he's negating all this technology that Batman needs, where he doesn't have access to like the Batmobile or the Batcopter or the Batwing, and that's why you see Alfred just disappearing all of a sudden, right? Because Alfred doesn't have the ability to kind of use these schematics to help Bruce navigate this transport. And I think with that, with his presence, I think creates this whole blackout, right? That's that whole starting point.
Yeah, and he's also gang related too. Which it's fun because I feel like one gang, there's all these gangs that are out, and one is like after him while the other is, I think, trying to get him back.
It's like he's got his own crew, but somehow, the story starts out, Batman's assisting Gotham City Police Department to transport him, and they say it's like 6.5 miles from Arkham Asylum south down to Blackgate, and they're literally going through the middle of the city, and all these gangs know this, which you're like thinking, my first thought was, how do they know this? Why do they know this? And that'll play out later. But Batman's in the Batwing flying around. He's basically overlooking the whole transport. here's what I thought was cool. And as I was reading this, they said they're transporting him in this big tank, and they call it the Faraday truck. And I was like, why do they call this a Faraday truck? And do you know what a Faraday chamber is?
Mm-mm.
A Faraday chamber, it's named after this scientist that basically invented this chamber that will protect whatever's inside from electric charges.
Mm.
And the scientist's name was Faraday. So they basically made this mobile Faraday chamber in this truck that, because EMP absorbs electricity. When he gets too overpowered, he just kind of explodes, right?
Yeah.
So that's what they're trying
to
to do. They're trying to block him from absorbing as much electricity and solar energy from the outside to keep him stable.
And Bruce kind of knows this ahead of time because he's telling Alfred to like check on his vitals because he knows that once that spikes, shit's about to go down, right?
Yeah.
Right. They have this visual. I love how Jock basically built us a map, almost like one of the Arkham games.
Yeah, I was
Arkham
about to say
Knight.
this definitely feels like a video game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He shows us the starting point. He shows us the path, and then he also plots out where these gangs are moving in from, and building barriers and trying to cut off the police and Batman. I love that.
It definitely has the settings of like when I first read it in the first few pages. It definitely connected me back to like Arkham Origins, right? Because Arkham Origins, the reason why we love that game so much is it does take place over the course of one night, but on a more massive scale, right? Instead of like all these villains of Gotham chasing Batman, now you have these sub gangs kind of just keeping a lookout for him. And this is where like the map kind of comes into play, right? Because now it kind of takes you into that navigation of what's happening while he's in that chamber.
Yeah, we really don't get to see the layout of Gotham City a lot in comics, and it seems like every time we do, it's a little different. Every artist has their interpretation, but one thing that's consistent is that it's like 3 individual like islands bridged together, with these overpasses and bridges that connect all of it together. One thing that stood out to me looking at this first map is where it shows Crime Alley in the Uptown area next to that Burnley. And I'm sure you guys have read that Batgirl of Burnley, where she's like taking over that trendy area up there. I would think that Crime Alley would be like down in the downtown area, in the old Gotham area, but I don't know. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny, just working in New York City and seeing, Chinatown, the financial district. They're the old Gotham. It's very like reminiscent of the structure of any major city. Obviously, like New York City, but any other major city would have the same breakdown, like Boston or Detroit or something.
He even has a map for where all the gangs are, the territorial map for the gangs, and it's funny. Got dockyard dogs, EMP tasers. What's interesting is he has Sprang Bridge soldiers. I'm guessing for Dick Sprang, and Robinson Park dogs, probably for Jerry Robinson, who's the co-creator of the Joker.
That's cool.
There's a lot of cool nods in here. Beretti family Z-Boys. That's interesting. Z-Boys were the original skateboard pioneers from Venice Beach, California. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but that's fun. So
okay, I was wondering what that meant.
It's funny because of the tasers. It's funny because one of the guys actually tries to use a taser. Batman just goes idiot and kicks him so hard. Oh, that was fun. I knew you'd like that one, Graham, so I had to send that to you.
So we're also introduced to another key player in the story, and that is this director of Blackgate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's monitoring the whole process, and she's wanting to make sure that this is a success, right? She's kind of keeping an eye on the transport.
Yeah, her name's Rita Vasquez.
Vasquez, yeah.
And, you know, her role, I guess, is the director or head of Prison Bureau of Gotham City. She's not under the jurisdiction of Jim Gordon. He can't control her.
Right.
And him and her just kind of butt heads on a lot of issues. And she's the one that's instigating, or, you know, it's her idea to move EMP from Arkham Asylum to Blackgate in this like big quarantine cell.
It's funny how they originally get him out. One of the gang members with the bazooka shoots the truck, and that's, to me, that's a big nod to the Dark Knight movie when the Joker uses that grenade launcher to try to get Two-Face out of that armored truck.
Yeah, if you look on that map, I like how it shows on that map. That map is an important part of the story too, because in the lower left corner it says, like, break in at the ammunition warehouse. All available units respond, and then shots fired. So these gangs break into the police ammunition warehouse.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's like the whole city is filled with gangs. You know? So, you know, they bust EMP out, and then Batman's pretty much on foot chasing EMP. I figured you liked that cool nod with the bat signal draped on that skyscraper. Very DKR-esque, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, that was sweet.
First, I wanted to point out, you know, when they blow up the Faraday truck, that image where Batman's swooping down with that cape. I was like, oh my gosh.
McFarlane-esque, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And he's always got the bats around him. I was like, where are they coming from?
I love how he has, the bats. I like, and even the Batwing in the background, which is cool.
Yeah.
I like the Batwing.
I was going to say before, the part that I found amusing too is like, I felt like Alfred was very confident in like the navigation and the fact that the technology was not going to get fucked up, because he was just like, hey, Master Wayne, you mind if I make myself a drink while I kind of take you through this, you know, whole navigation? Because he just thought Gotham PD just had this on lock, and he's like, you know what? This is going to be an easy breezy night for me.
Yeah.
He goes, it would be a waste for me not to kind of set myself, you know, make myself a gin and tonic drink or whatever that was.
Yeah.
And sure enough, you know, shit's about to go haywire.
Another fun note, Jock loves to draw fire escapes. He loves to draw fire escapes. And I remember, I think it was Mondo who did a print a long fucking time ago with Jock's artwork, and it was showing Batman. The whole print was like, the whole print was a building with different levels for the fire escapes, and it showed Batman in sequence going down them. It was a year one print.
Batman year one, yeah.
Yeah, and it just was so cool. It was such a good idea, and you always see fire escapes in Jock's work, so he loves doing that.
He is so good at doing like cityscapes.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
He has a very unique art style. He's one of these guys that he can draw any way that he wants, and a lot of times his characters are very loose. You know, he makes them look comic booky, but his cityscape, his backgrounds are very tight.
Mm-hmm.
I love
some
that.
people. I remember Tim Sale was like that at one point. Sometimes he would do very loose stuff, and then he would draw Catwoman on this rug with all this detail in the rug, and it was like it's like two different artists that push. You know, it's so cool, the push pull effect with art. So
yeah.
So I'm bouncing back and forth through the book. Don't mind me, but you know what I really like is the containment unit that's waiting for EMP at Blackgate. I love the design of that thing. It's just it's very futuristic. It kind of reminds me of the red ecto containment unit from Ghostbusters. Like it's just but the schematics of things so futuristic and well designed. I love good design. Sean Murphy's another guy that does a lot of cool like design like that. So this is cool. Um, but the EMP breaks out of the truck, and then Batman is on foot on the rooftops chasing him. EMP sure has a lot of motion, considering that he's pretty weak from what's going on with him. He's he's monstrous. It's like he's kind of like a monster, isn't he? He's just he's kind of grotesque, you know.
Yeah, to me, I feel like he's
radiation.
like a mashup between like Frankenstein and like the Mummy, kind of, right? He's very frail, but
Yeah.
he has this explosive ability that
Mm.
it's like Jekyll and Hyde. He's so frail, but in a matter of seconds, he could blow up a city.
He makes me think about what Mr. Freeze would be like without his, cryo chamber suit.
Yeah,
They just that's for some reason. But he chases EMP, and then so things happen where he'll just grab onto our power line, and then he'll have like this electrical field, like this orb around him, and then it'll send the pulse out and sends Batman back. And I mean, I would love to see an animated or some kind of action sequence to this. Just it's so cinematic. It's action packed. I love shit like this. It's just so fun. I mean, this and the fire scenes in this, the way it's colored is really vibrant, and you could feel the heat. And what's funny is like he does those. Jock draws those words like whoosh and ba-dum, boom. It
Yeah.
has that
Quam.
it has the Adam West effect, So
Right.
amidst all the seriousness of the story and what's going on, then you had those words that remind you of the Adam West stuff. It's kind of a fun juxtaposition of what's going on. It's serious and lighthearted at the same time almost.
But you also made a really good point before we even started. You were saying like the beauty about this, the art, the coloring, the wording, like you don't need word bubbles, right? You could legitly just go through these pages and know what's happening. And I
Very
think that's
cinematic.
it's such a strength. Like the word bubbles, yeah, they're important, but the gestures and just the action scenes of like the motion and the cop cars crashing into each other, you're witnessing and feeling the chaos on top of like the brushstrokes that are very like directional, but you're seeing that through like the explosiveness of the mist and the soft colors, but you're also seeing it through that motion of the cars that there's too much chaos going on in Gotham. Like Gotham is out of control.
Well, I think that's intentional because, Jock, as a artist by trade, he wants to show his art. I guarantee you he's one of those artists that once he gets his comic books, he's like, your word bubbles are covering all my art that I spent hours working on. So he doesn't want much words in the way,
Jock knows what he's doing. He really does, because what he does is you have a couple of pages where there's a lot of fire. EMP's on fire, buildings are on fire, there's a lot of yellow and red everywhere. And then there's the big white boom, boom through the city. And then the next page, it's all black and midnight blue because the power's out. So he went from a hot temperature to a cold temperature. He just took you from one mood to the other. And that's by design. And that's where when I was reading this, I was just really enjoying it, man, because you could feel the stillness.
It's kind of interesting where you see him working with the Scott Snyder versus the first time of him really taking the driver's seat. You really see Jock at his best in this book, right? Minimalistic with the words, and just high levels of shading, grading, inks, and just to me, I feel like, the paneling too, just how it organically fits into each other like a puzzle piece is a strength that you don't see other people doing. Like he's using these panel pieces like little Tetris pieces fitting into another bigger piece. And to me, that's not easy to do, right? Like you said, it's done by design.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like how I'm looking at this page where, EMP's on the run, Batman's chasing him. You've got this little boy named Brody who all of a sudden his eyes are turning red. And at first, when I saw that, I was like, what's going on here? Obviously, he's some other type of meta human. And there's this panel breakdown where Gordon's driving, Vasquez is in the passenger seat, and she's looking pissed off. And then there's this middle panel where it's just the focus on Vasquez's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Not even her full face, just really her eyes. And I like that when an artist can really focus in to show you, the emotion of a character. And like you said, you don't even need the word. You can just look from that panel right there. I can put my hand over the words and I can tell she's really pissed off about something.
Yeah, it's very menacing, right?
Yeah. She's obviously she feels that Gordon's trying to take over her, initiative here to move this prisoner. They're two equal pieces in the the bureaucracy and the law enforcement, but it's kind of a chess play. Who's got the power and who's going to take jurisdiction of this thing now that it's going down.
Right.
Power grab, definitely. Yeah. So, side note, Batman has this portable device that he attaches to EMP's back. Was that to stabilize him?
Yeah, that's
right.
Basically, kind of how that Faraday thing was trying to keep power out. That thing stabilizes him and keeps him, passive so he doesn't, explode. And Batman's chasing him to try to attach that to him.
It's kind of like a thermostat, I guess, right? It's kind of like regulated.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel, And
these gang guys, they're just blasting Gotham City.
Yes. So we're at a point where he kind of had that, I guess, that pulse, and then he knocked out. Batman's carrying him on his shoulder through the city because there's a blackout. That's a really cool image. There's no page number on here, but when they, it's the silhouette of Vasquez, and they show her glasses, but they show her eyes through her glasses, and that's it. And you could definitely see how pissed off she is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then what's cool is he carries EMP on the train tracks of maybe an overhead subway. And Vasquez decides to do a side mission and goes to the apartment where Brody is.
Yeah.
Who is and I guess Oscar is Brody's caretaker. Brody, thinks it's his father, but we'll learn about that in a little while. And she wants to talk to him. Brody, that is.
I wanted to ask you guys, because obviously Gotham City represents New York City in a lot of ways. And we see when this blackout hits, it does not take long at all for it just to turn into hell on earth. What would it be like if this happened in New York City?
Well, I mean, I've experienced it. There was a blackout in August of 2003. And it was just hot, very hot. And people had to walk over the bridge to go home. It was you can look it up, the 2003 New York blackout. It was hot. It's what it was.
But I'm sure there was some looting, right? I think that's an opportunity for people to kind of powers down. It's opportunity to kind of act like the Purge a little bit, because
not really.
Was it more peaceful?
No,
I remember it, but
here's the thing, though. This is 9/11 is still fresh in everyone's head. So when that happened in 2003, a lot of people first thought it might have been a terrorist attack. And then And then, people were still very vulnerable and sensitive to everything that happened with 9/11, so they weren't really out to get each other. It wasn't like 2020 and Black Lives Matter and all that stuff when it was a different time. People were much more sensitive to each other. So maybe that's why. Not to mention, just because the power is out and they went out there in the day doesn't mean people are just gonna start looting stores and
Well,
whatnot.
that is true. Like the fact that it happened. Again, I forget how long it lasted for, but
Like a day.
if it's during the day, I think you're less prone to like the crazy. But
what would happen now?
I think
I don't know.
I think it'd be more under control. I think with technology and I don't know. Hopefully it wouldn't be violent, but like
all I know is I wouldn't want to be there.
Yeah, yeah. It would
No
be a good time
way. I'd just stay inside.
Be at home.
Yeah.
Stay inside with that maker's mark.
Just hang out with the sleeping dogs.
Yeah, snoring dogs and board up the windows.
Man, EMP is a very Freeze-like character. He has that attachment from the back of his head to that pack, man.
Yeah, that's true. The more and more you say that, it's very, very similar to to Freeze.
Oh, he got shot too while he was on the overhead, and
well, I just like the fact that he crashed down in the bat signal. And
yeah.
I mean, I'm flipping through the pages here. I mean, that's kind of symbolic how the bat symbol is the one that finally puts the city in a total dark blackout. But
and I'm thinking maybe that's why he named this book One Dark Night, because it's a dark night.
Yeah, it's a blackout.
It's a blackout. Yeah,
for sure. It's pretty genius.
I was trying to figure out what that means. And then so Batman's on the overhead and the train's coming. It's really cool because the guy did a Dondi graffiti piece on the side of the train. Dondi was an old legendary 80s graffiti writer in New York, so that's he probably looked that up.
I think this was a pretty damn action-packed first episode, right? First issue.
Man,
this is not what I expected out of this book. I think, and we'll talk more at the end, but I feel like this is Jock at his best. I don't think we've ever seen him like that.
I think Oscar Brody's caretaker is kind of affiliated with one of the gangs as well, or has a problem with one, and then he's getting in a conflict with one of the members while he's trying to get Brody out of harm's way, and then Batman intervenes.
So Batman's basically he's like carrying EMP on his shoulder, and he's like, I'm just gonna walk him to Blackgate, like over 5 miles, carrying this dude before the sun can come up, because if he's out during the sunlight, he'll take down the whole city.
Kaboom.
Yep.
And
boom.
Here's what's crazy is that there's this one panel where he's carrying EMP on his back, and he says he's drifting in and out of consciousness, draining any small electrical charge he can latch onto. And you see like the guy's eye open up, and then Batman kind of stumbles, and he says, in this instance, the synapses in my brain. So he's even he can even drain your life force if he's in contact with you. I thought that was cool, because that kind of weakens Batman while he's going up against these gang members. He's not as coordinated, and he's not on top of his game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's already on fumes, and he can barely hold on to this guy. And in the process, this guy's already sucking whatever's left. He's the gaslight is on.
Yeah. And then you have Vasquez pretty much kidnapping Brody and saying things that will disturb him emotionally to try to get a charge out of him, like literally, because he has what EMP has as well. Maybe not as strong, but it's in there. Obviously, she's going to weaponize it against EMP.
Well, here's what's messed up is that, Gordon and Vasquez and Montoya, they're in this cop car, and when the EMP goes off, they lose control of their car and they smash in, crash, and Montoya is seriously hurt.
Yes.
And Vasquez is out of the car. And earlier in the book, those two were kind of buddy, like they had a history and they kind of came up together through the ranks. And Montoya, she's hurt in the back of this car, and Vasquez says, "Okay, I'll try to help you. Can you move?" And she's like, "I can't feel my legs." And the gang is moving in, because they see blood on the streets and easy prey. And Vasquez just turns and walks away and leaves her there.
Yep.
We don't know what happens to Montoya, but it can't be good when a gang full of guns and rocket launchers are walking towards you.
I love the coloration of Back to Blue because it kind of gives this like lifeless feeling that connects to Montoya's eyes, and then you see like the pops of red through the blood, and it feels like she's just 1 second away from death when you see that art, right? And then Montoya, and then Vasquez is walking away, and it kind of looks very wintry and scratchy, but it just shows how cold and heartless she is, right?
Yeah.
She just doesn't give a shit, and she's willing to let Montoya be left for dead and maybe let the gang take her, or she doesn't care. She just cares about her mission, right?
Yeah,
pretty much.
She's not. She has her back on Montoya, and she really doesn't give a shit.
That texture that you talk about, I mean, that is
the Jock move, right?
That's the Jock move, man. That's
his signature hit.
That's what he does, bro. It's kind of like one of those photo filters, on your phone that you can put and kind of make something look grungy or distorted. I mean, he does it on the page here. It's really cool.
Definitely intensifies the moment.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine if it wasn't there. It may not make that big of a deal, but when it is there, it just adds a whole new element to the emotion and the intensity here.
Exactly.
I think some of the gang members throw EMP down a sewer hole.
Oh yeah. Well, before that, I mean, Batman kind of has a conversation with him, and you can kind of see that EMP's really not a bad guy.
Right.
There was something that happened like 5 years ago where he basically blew up and took out like several blocks or something and killed a lot of people, including his wife.
Yeah.
And he reveals to Batman that he feels some remorse because he's like, how can I live with myself knowing what I've done to Brody's mother?
Yeah.
I'm the one, his own father, that messed him up and made him an orphan, because after that they took Brody away from him and kind of put him with, he probably went through the system and foster care and ended up with this guy that is a gang member,
Right. Yeah, you definitely feel a little empathetic for EMP, that you feel like, I don't want to say he's a victim, but he's a victim of his circumstances or just a series of bad events that have happened. Clearly, like, he has this thing that he can't control, and now he's the victim of all these events that have happened, right? You don't feel like he's induced it out of rage. It's just, it happened, and now he has to deal with it.
Yeah.
And now his family is in shreds because of it.
Yeah. And then this is where they get ambushed by the gang members shooting at them.
More gangs.
More gangs.
more gangs, more rocket launchers. You have this really this kind of grimace scene. I like where it goes from blue to kind of green and blue tones, which is really, it's just another strength of Jock to use these colorations, these illuminating strokes where Vasquez is now kind of looking for Oscar, right? But in that one scene where she's green, you kind of see that she's the villain, right? The color kind of has transcribed her to that point where Jock is starting to reveal who she really is, right?
Right.
There's this kind of standoff transition between her and Gordon, between her and Brody, and now you're starting to see, okay, she's the bad guy here.
Not
She's
only
the real
that,
villain.
but she actually has control over some of the GCPD, and where they're willing to kill another officer for her.
Yeah, which is something I don't think you followed up on, and I'm very interested because.
Well, that makes me when that happened.
That was shocking.
That was shocking, but it was like, okay, how do these gangs all know that? Okay, we're gonna move him today and all this stuff. It kind of looks like to me that this was her plan all along, all this chaos, because she wanted to get him out of that container. She did not want him to get to Blackgate.
Yeah.
Because she's got a motive. And she told all them and said, hey, maybe here's some money. You know, get this guy for me.
Yeah. Absolutely. She had it all planned out. That's even down to the point where she would intercept Brody and try to use him to take out EMP as revenge, which is quite convenient that she stopped off at the apartment on the way over.
Yeah,
I mean, plus it's the ultimate revenge, right? Because she's using his son as a catalyst to potentially destroy him. So what better way to get back at him than to use your own blood to kind of lead to your demise, right?
Pretty much nasty person. And after they throw EMP down the sewer hole, then Batch jumps down there, and there was a bunch of other. I don't even know what these guys are. They're like zombies.
Yeah,
like
what
the fuck are they?
Mole people.
Yeah, they're probably. I felt like they were all just drugged up. I felt like they were just zombies. They're lifeless, but they were definitely like cretins or like kind of just they're kind of henchmen, but they're also addicts.
But the thing is, it kind of threw me off because they speak the same way EMP speaks in the word bubbles. So at one point I thought, are they a bunch of EMPs? It was kind of because they look like him as well. They're all shriveled up and skinny, and
For a second, I thought they were like clones or something, right? Like
But then it's funny because when I was reading this and I saw him jump down in the sewers, I was like, oh, can you imagine if he ran into like Croc or something?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, yo, this feels like a Croc situation.
And then boom, big Croc.
Well, before you get that, I mean, I wanted to just briefly go back to the last page of the end of book 2. And that's where, the gang has taken EMP. There's another gang that's moved in and they're throwing Molotov cocktails down at EMP's gang. And they're like, haha, you missed us. And then they start shooting and they basically build a wall of fire around these guys and burn them up. And Batman's like, okay, this is my chance. I can get down into the sewer hole.
Yeah.
And he jumps down and he says, it's dark down here. Too dark. And then there's this panel where he's smiling. And I was like, anytime Batman smiles, it's not good.
Not good.
And then he says, I like it. It's like, oh my God. He's just ratcheting up the intensity here.
Yeah, because he accepts this is his element. This is where he gets nuts.
Yeah, when Batman smiles, something's wrong. And I forgot where this was from. It was from an animated episode where Batman and Superman were playing good cop, bad cop, right? And so Superman tries to act tough and mean, and the guy was laughing. He wasn't budging, and then Batman starts smiling and acting nice, and the guy freaks out and starts spilling all the information because there's nothing more unnerving and terrifying than a smiling Batman. It's like something is wrong, So, it's very unnerving when Batman.
It's almost
smiles.
like that's his greatest weapon.
He even freaked out the Joker when he started laughing and smiling. Like it's something that Batman does not do. So that's cool, and it also shows you how nuts he is. He's Batman is nuts. So it's like The Dark Knight Returns really was one of the first stories to show you how unhinged he really is. You know, so
Truly, yes.
but I tell you, Jock draws a great Killer Croc, man. He does a great. I love how Jock has just one of Killer Croc's hands bandaged up. I have no idea why, but that's kind of cool. He's drooling.
Well, I mean,
it's so cool.
he's always kind of had those bandages on his hands when he's like in a prisoner in Arkham, right?
Yeah, but I don't know why I like, because it's just on one of his arms. And I just feel like that was a nice touch. It made it a little, made you ask, why is one bandaged up? What happened to him? What's going on? So, let's see. So Vasquez is taking Brody, and Croc starts whooping the shit out of Batman. You know, I'll tell you what, man. For all those hits, I mean, you're going to be, any normal person is going to be dead after taking a couple of hits from Killer Croc, man. Just, and it's cool to see how all this chaos that's going down in the sewers, and then he goes up showing you all of the chaos taking place on the streets right above them. With the who's in the finance? These guys have military. They have AK-47, like an arsenal, man. It's just chaos.
I like that part where Batman's fighting off the Croc cult.
Croc
cult. The meta human Croc, meta Croc.
Well, just the crackhead Croc cult.
It's crackhead crack gang. Yeah.
crack gang.
And you know, Croc says, "Now tear him apart, but save his heart for me."
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's pretty tense, pretty heavy. That's pretty poetic for Croc, actually.
Yeah, he talks a lot in this, and he talks well.
Yeah.
Normally he's kind of like a,
like a brute, just like, I gotta rock. Batman. Man, Jock draws a great Killer Croc. I wouldn't change anything about Jock's Killer Croc. So on point. And man, he beats the shit out of Batman's face. Man, I would be dead. One of those hits and I would be dead. Just and then we cut to what we were just talking about with Vasquez and Brody, and Brody tries to tell the cops that he's being kidnapped, and then Vasquez shoots that cop, and the other cops are just there.
Well, the thing that I picked up was, okay, this police car drives up, and I was like, okay, well, how's this car have power? So obviously by this time, and this says 4:47 a.m. By this time, EMP's blackout is starting to wear off in the city, and all electricity is starting to turn back on because things are starting to work now, and they've got less and less time to get him to the Blackgate.
Yeah. So, and Batman is going at it with the Croc cult, and then he, out of his utility belt, I guess he had some kind of a.
He says he's down to one last item in his belt, and it's basically a flash.
Yeah, but the reaction's phosphorus into the air, which is gonna trigger another pulse from EMP, I suppose.
I love the one, and it kind of connects back to what Grant's just shown that one scene. But even though he's getting the shit kicked out of him, he still has the nerve to tell Croc, "I can still smell your fear." Like that's Batman, right? That's fucking confidence right there. You're down, you're beat to a pulp. You have your arm up, and your last thing you're telling Croc is, "I know you're still scared."
Yep.
See, I want a poster of that panel right there.
Yeah, that's a nice.
That's
one.
fucking gangster, man. Like
that's a gangster. You know what? What I see right there is a young DKR. He is acting and speaking and bloody like a young DK. The gauntlets, by the way, are DKR. If you guys haven't noticed, those are DKR gauntlets. So very cool.
And of
I
course,
love
even down in the sewer, there are more bats flying around. He's got these magical bats that just follow him everywhere.
Oh, I love those bats. And then now Croc's coming back at him, and somehow Batman just starts whooping the shit. He just catapults, uses his legs to just fling him back into the wall, and then that's it.
Yeah, he just does a Brazilian jiu-jitsu move and lets his momentum
I mean, look how fucking big Croc is. I mean, if you get hit once by that guy, you're done. You're just done. So just get a kick out of how Batman could sustain that.
I was waiting for him to do the old Keaton move where he just sticks his hand out and that thing shoots out and hits Croc in the nuts or something like that, you know?
Yeah, he I love the catcher is like, use his weight against him. Like that one little kick will just get it done, you know?
Smart.
Physics. Good old physics.
Good old physics. And then EMP still going on about how he didn't mean for any of this to happen. I guess which would happen. Batman's already well aware of it. He addresses him as Edward. It's funny because Edward E and then EMP. I wonder if that's a play on anything.
No, that's his name. It's like Edward M. Pressler.
That's
like
ridiculous.
His initials are EMP.
That's so ridiculous. That's so ridiculous. That's so fucking that's fucking ridiculous. It's like Enigma, right? Just
yeah, Edward Enigma.
See, I love how Jock throws a little cheese in here. You know, it's funny bastard, man. He's a cheeky bloke. He is. So Batman's still dragging EMP through the underground train tracks. Meanwhile, Alfred Pennyworth gets the Batcave computer system back up and running online finally, with all the maps and everything. Get track what's going on. They come up top from the sewers, and then you got that really nice cityscape that Jock drew with those greens.
Well, I love how Batman's cowl is literally tied around his head at this point.
Yeah, it's literally acting like a bandage.
Like, yep, like a mummy Batman.
Yeah, kind of like a mummy wrap. Yeah,
kind of like almost like Hush-esque, really.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, they come up on the bridge that goes out to Blackgate because Blackgate's actually on this like its own little island off the coast.
Own little fucking Castlevania fucking castle.
Own little Rikers Island out there. And Batman turns around and he's like, "Oh," because he sees all these dudes with their guns pointed right at him.
Yep. These guys look like they're paramilitary and just nut jobs, man. They want this guy. You would think there was a hit out on him, you know, like somebody put a big bounty on this guy, the way everyone is trying to get him. It reminds me of All-Star Batman. Remember when, who was it? They put a big hit out on, was it Two-Face? And they were Two-Face and Batman were on the run, and everyone was trying to get him from everyone from Gentleman Ghost to God knows, Killer Moth. That was fun. Yeah, they're on the bridge and they're all going on them.
They blow up the bridge.
How do they blow the bridge up?
Well, they've got those
explosives.
Yeah, they've
rockets,
got those bazookas.
Yeah, bazookas,
and they blow up the bridge, which separates EMP from Batman, and then they all rush him, and they're like, "He's exposed, go," and leaves Batman to like basically fight these dudes by himself after he's already fought Croc almost to death.
Yep. Yeah. Bandage. Then Vasquez shows up with Brody, the metahuman. That splash page where Batman falls off the damaged bridge and then he does this bit of a dive reminds me of that Dick Grayson as Batman black and white statue, which is by Jock as well. Very cool.
Well, she tries to use Brody. She's, is this the part where she tells Brody that, look at him, this is your father. This is really who your dad is. And he's like, huh? And
I felt that too, like that bridge exploding. was very symbolic about the scene that you're talking about, right? Because now you're two sides of the bridge. Like, to me, is like very symbolic about what she's trying to do. Instead of bridging the gap, she's doing the opposite of that, right? She's taunting Brody because she knows he has that in him, right? He has that rage. He has that that ability to kind of charge up and explode.
She wants him to use the Force.
Wants him to use
the dark side of the Force.
The dark side of the Force. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And
she's kind of like finish him.
She's like Palpatine. Yeah,
And
she's telling him that he's weak and you're nothing and you're useless and they left you and
she's basically just calling him a loser.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but then ultimately, Brody just wanted his dad, and EMP just wanted Brody, and then they were okay.
You can see his eyes rage out, right? You can see like for a second he's about to really go the distance, because he's taking Vasquez's belligerent words and just it's like beating on his head. You can see with the repetition, which is really powerful.
Yeah, Brody was about to just, I guess, kill Vasquez, whatever rage-fueled power he has that's similar to EMP, but then Batman comes along and tells him that it's not the way and that it's going to be okay. And that stops it.
And I'm just, that one page where it's all white and he's holding Brody, I was like, wow, that's a very powerful page.
Yeah, because that's at the end of the day, that's all he really wanted, right?
Yeah,
he wanted to feel whole because of that explosion of him losing his family. Like he just wanted these 3 seconds to kind of feel whole again.
And then
she starts shooting at.
Yeah, she starts. She's starting to show her true colors here. I mean, it's kind of the big reveal of the bad guy, and the whole time she was trying to do this to get revenge against him because what happened 5 years ago or whatever. Whenever he blew up, he killed part of her family.
Yeah,
and she's been wanting to get revenge on him all this time.
It's kind of interesting though, because it is kind of like a yin and yang thing, because they both suffered the same loss, but one is kind of a victim and one is like using that as a catalyst for rage, right? Which it's a very gray area, because it's like, how do you not blame Vasquez to have that vendetta against him?
Yeah.
But in the same way, he's a victim of his circumstance, right? So it's a very locked up story, right? It's really hard to kind of be one-sided in this at this point.
Well, it's funny because in the first book, when her and Montoya are walking to that meeting, Montoya is saying how some of her tactics can be a little radical, and Vasquez says, well, they're really more progressive. And, her idea of rehabilitation, is kind of seen as controversial. But at the, this right here just shows she has no intent of actually being someone who rehabilitates people like this. She has an ulterior motive where she used her position to get to a place of power where she could set this all up.
Yeah. That's what happened. And so there's another poll.
Batman has, he tells Brody, he's like, stay here. I'm going to go help your dad.
Yeah.
But that's a lie. He says, but that's a lie. And he basically has to clear him off the bridge and throws him down in the water, and he explodes down in the water.
Yeah, in the water. And then Bats has Brody. Very cool scene where Bats is holding Brody with the DKR gauntlets and the bandaged head.
Is he holding Brody or Vasquez?
Brody.
Okay.
He has his hand on Brody. Yeah.
Yeah. Brody. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then,
this is very DKR at the end. Like that whole silhouette with the eyes and.
Yep. And
It's
the
definitely,
way
you know,
his teeth are showing, and
Yeah,
even
you
the same color blue, like it's that royalish blue that
Mhm.
it has that DKR effect from the
I
yellow
mean,
chest
Jock,
symbol.
you know, Jock got his swing at a lot of DKR, DK3 covers, so I'm sure he continues to keep that rich aesthetic into things like
Nice
this, you know,
blue.
stories like this.
Vasquez goes off on Batman when Batman does the thing, tells her she won't get away with it, and she says things as, you know, I'm the head of the entire prison service. What are you going to do? You're Gordon's pet vigilante and some dropout kid. Thanks for your concern, Batman, but I'm sure I'll be fine. And then Batman catches it all on audio, which is being looped right back to Gordon.
She's
That's
like,
all
I'm Vasquez, bitch.
that's all they need.
43
And,
seconds, yeah.
interestingly enough, there's no gang members in sight. Not sure what happened to all of them.
Well, what's funny is that Batman pulls the old disappearing act on her, just like he does with Gordon, because she turns around, Batman's gone. Kid's gone. Yeah, and the gang members are all gone too. I don't know how that happened either, but
yeah, EMP is going to be okay. And then, they even have. I just noticed this now, but there is a. I don't know if it's a meter or a device that stabilizes.
Yep,
it's Brody, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing as EMP, but just placed on his temples.
On his temple. Then Oscar is reunited with him. Seems like Oscar's a good dude that's kind of playing the foster role at the moment. And then in the background, you could hear all of the radio exchanges from GCPD in the background.
When you hear those radio exchanges, in my head, I'm just like, all right, it's back to business, right? The sun comes up.
Yep. It's like
the adversity is kind of over, but now it's back to being like normal Gotham bullshit.
Yeah, it just shows you how just pretty much shows you how Gotham never stops in terms of crime and activity and things of that nature.
And it's kind of like, all right, the sun's out. I got to get out of here before you guys see how shitty my suit really is.
Sun's out, guns out. Yeah, that's it.
And it also gives it a little closure, right? Like they survived.
It is very cool how the story ends when the sun's coming up. And it's I call it an overnight story. I like overnight stories because the story starts when the sun was setting, where you can see the Batwing and going over Gotham City. So it was an overnight adventure, which is something I always love. Nice, fast-paced story. DKR.
I think he definitely three issues per arc. This is definitely like watching a movie, right? He definitely kind of broke this down into like three different parts of the movie, and each one had their own transition. But to me, like you said before, it felt very cinematic.
Yeah, very really good pacing, a lot of fun. Yeah. I don't know. It's funny because this thing's been out for what 3-4 years already. It still feels new to me. When I hear One Dark Knight, it still sounds like a new title, but it's been out for a little while. And I was like, oh yeah, it's shocking. I just never thought about what it would actually be about. When I started reading it, I didn't know anything about it. Just went right into it, and I just loved the pacing. And just right out the gate, we're on a convoy, and there's something's happening, and the Batwing's in there, and I'm like, all right, this is good. So that was a nice, to me. That was a nice treat. To me, that was another banger. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think everything we've been covering recently, past couple, have just been. I've been very pleased with them. So I guess we'll do the rating system out of 5. Out of 5, goddamn Louis. All right, Gramps, out of 5 Louis. How many?
Five Louis. Okay.
Damn, that's a lot of Louis.
That's a lot of Louis.
All right. Well, man, you put me on the spot having to go first.
You can take the time because this is a nice book to reflect on. I really enjoyed it.
Being that I always thought it was cool that they finally gave Jock his shot to tell his story, because I'm sure, like many artists out there that have worked in this industry for some time, they've all got their own story that they like to pitch and like to throw and draw, and this was his one. And there was a lot of hype and excitement about this. There was actually some additional variant covers that came out with this, and they're all bangers. So I mean, with this, my rating is based on story because he wrote it, and then also the art, and each one kind of has their own thing to make my overall rating. Being that it was his first story, I'll give it a solid 3.
Okay.
Art, I loved it. I thought art was about a 4. So for me, a total of 3.5. And that's
3.5.
nothing to be ashamed about. That is an awesome book that I will pick up and read again over and over. And I loved it, the fact that, when we decided to do this book, usually I'll try to read it 2 times through before we do the review. And the first time is just to kind of get the basic, and then the second time to really deep dive into particular scenes or plot points or whatever. And I still feel like I could pick this book up and read it a 3rd or 4th time and pick up something new and different from it. So that's kind of my rating, 3.5 Louis.
Wow.
And here's my hope, because I feel like Jock has got more in him. And you can't just, for me, this is my opinion, you can't just come out with a 5 out of 5 straight out of the gate.
From the gate, yep.
Because then you got nowhere to go.
Gramps is like, you got to earn it, boy.
You got to earn it. So I think Jock's got more in him, and I want to see more from him. I want to see more like this from him. I mean, I would even like to see a follow-up where it's, 2 Dark Knight, something.
Yeah.
I like that. All
right, Jesus. Out of 5, goddamn.
Oh, man.
Goddamn.
Overall, I'm going to give it a 4.
Solid.
I really love the art, but I think Gramps made a really good point. The story really doesn't start to come together until the end, and then I found that when I was backtracking the beginning of the first few issues, you start connecting the dots, and you're like, oh shit, okay, now it all makes sense. So this is definitely not a one and done story. I think you have to kind of massage through it and really find the nuances from the beginning to start connecting what has happened at the end. So definitely sophisticated, and as a fan of Jock, I've always known him to kind of be that cover artist. You go to the comic shop and he does an incredible cover and you want to grab it. For me in the past, I've seen things like the Batman That Laughs, and I didn't love his interiors as much as this one. I think, again, when you let him do his own thing, he's a one-stop shop, right? He's a one-man army. His colors are amazing. I think, his opportunity to do these full-blown panels, he did some really nice homages. But when he starts zooming into like the grittiness of Batman, that's where Jock really shines. So the art was great, and the coloring and this was amazing. The story I felt like was complex, so I felt like I have to kind of go back and kind of put the pieces together. So that's where I feel like the rating went down a little bit. But this was, I think, Jock's best book, in my opinion. It takes him away from Scott Snyder. Less bubbles, less wording, and more action and more cinematography in his, brushstroke. So he killed it. I think this is definitely his book. This is his best.
Some good dew. Some dew going around.
Four Louis. That's huge.
So
Four
so art
Louis.
was
Wow.
so art definitely got. Let me see how detailed he could get. And definitely his understanding of color. I mean, he's done work before, but this is the transitioning with color theory is really well thought out. The art is very strong in this book for me. Architecture.
Yeah.
If he did the coloring, that's impressive with the fire and the mood. So
You
art
know
is
what
a
I
strong.
love? I love how he uses that zipatone effect. And you know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about, where
the dot.
the little dots, it
Yeah,
reminds me of like the old school newspaper coloring,
yeah,
but
or
he
like the
does it.
Liechtenstein.
Yeah, he does it on like certain parts of the cape, and then another part of the cape will be a mat, and then he uses that to build depth and kind of a 3D esque effect. I love how he does that. Okay,
Grunge. It gives it a grunge vibe.
yeah.
Yeah, that's his style. You know, the art is really good. Like architecture, train tracks, the buildings, the fire escapes, Batwing, the bandage. Like, the art is such a strong point in this book. Um, I don't think he writes much. I like the story. There's some things that just I really like the story. I like the story a lot. I like it's an action story. Thing is, there's a few things didn't make sense. Number one, Vasquez, all of a sudden throughout this whole thing, she conveniently ends up at the apartment where Brody lives. All these gang members are out, but you see no civilians anywhere in the city. At the end, they just all magically disappear. A couple of things didn't have other things that supported it for it to make sense. I know it's fantasy and fiction and fun, but I mean, I think adding a couple of more things in the mix would have really made it a more solid story, even though I really do like the story. But the art's so strong and the color theory so strong, and the DKR nods are really nice. And we do have a new member. I don't even know if you want to call him a member of the Rogues Gallery, but I like new characters. So it's gonna tilt it more towards. I'll do 4 out of 5 because of how strong the art tells the story as opposed to the writing. Yes, that's
Yeah,
how
and
strong the art is.
you made a valid point too. Like this is a first appearance of a villain that he created. So
Yeah, a fun villain. It's an interesting villain because it's one of those guys that can't control himself. It's just it's pretty fun. And yeah, Murray, please. Like I said, I didn't know. The book still feels new, but it's been out for a while. It's for so long. I just had an idea of what this thing might be, just because of the cover. I thought it might be something like what's that character? The Grim Knight. The visually had a Grim
yeah,
Knight vibe. So I kind
that's
of
true.
thought it was going to be like that because of the imagery, but no, this was a lot of fun. This is definitely. I would love to see a 1 hour animated feature of this action packed. I think that would be a banger. This was cool, and I enjoyed it a lot. And the art tells the story, so I'm gonna lean to 4 out of 5. So that was pretty good. And Gramps, with the let's look at those two variant covers real quick. Take
Well, there actually, I mean, there were several
you got
variant
'em?
covers, but I
Yeah, I
think
think
the
you
one
chose
that,
two.
yeah, the first
Sankovic, yeah,
one here.
little dude. Yeah,
Oh,
I
Some J's.
this is so random,
Yeah.
and it really makes me want these non-existing Batman Jordan. Look like a Jordan 6 bat.
This is
Uh,
by Mike Mayhew.
yeah,
And I
this is
mean,
so great. Love it.
yeah, those actually look like, you know, those look like they could be made.
Yeah,
I'd wear those.
I would wear them in a heartbeat. Oh, they would be so hard to get though, because everybody would probably want these. They kind of have like a Jordan 6 vibe. Yeah, it's such a random variant cover. has nothing to do with the story whatsoever, but it's such a cool. This was Black Label magazine format size, those large dimensions as well, I believe. So, I don't remember seeing this in the comic shop. Do you guys? Probably not, right?
Nah. Yeah,
Not that one.
because if I saw it, I would have bought it.
Yeah, me too, in a heartbeat. So,
Man,
yeah,
I see this image and I'm like, man, I wish I knew someone that worked at a sneaker company that could do Batman sneakers. Fuck. Oh, you can't win them
we
all.
can't wait.
All
Yeah,
This is
very
cool.
cool.
right, and then one that I really liked was this one, where it was like
Oh man.
Killer Croc stalking Batman. Who did we say this was? Bill
Sienkiewicz?
Bill Sienkiewicz, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I like
pretty.
that one a lot.
As soon as I saw that hunched Batman silhouette, I said that has to be Bill. That's his style. Um, you see his Crocs, broad, scaly back. That's a work of art right there. That's a cool variant cover.
Bill's become that new. I mean, he's always been around ever since, especially like he caught my eye around, DK3. But he just shows up and his painterly style is just next level, right?
He has a great black and white statue.
There's no one like him, right? He's so
Yeah.
stylized, and I mean, when you see this variant cover, it's like, what artist gets commissioned to do Killer Croc and then doesn't show Killer Croc, just shows
Yeah.
his back, right? That
Yep.
takes a lot of confidence, and it's like, hey, I'm taking the lead on this. I'm going to show you. He's taken us to the depths of the water with this perspective, which is genius.
Horror element to it.
Horror, for sure. And the swamps.
Yeah, I mean, Bill is definitely in the Kelly Jones
The mood,
and
right? The mood.
and Bernie Wrightson monstrous, sector of Batman art or comic book art in general. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. This is another one I've never seen.
Here's another cool one. This is from Cliff Chang.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Cool because the bat symbol is blacking out.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, that's a nice one. That's clean.
Here's a cool one. This is by Paul Pope.
Woo.
That's a very clean image for Paul Pope. They chose some very interesting artists to do these variant covers.
Yeah.
There's a theme going on, except for that sneaker one. That's so random.
Well, here's another cool one. This one is by Lee Garbett.
That's nice.
And
it's cool.
That's DKR-esque as well. Remember the silhouette when he's on the power line?
Yeah. This one
Oh,
had a blackout effect with the black gloss on a matte black cover.
Damn.
And those white eyes. This one was the one that a lot of people I remember were after. I think it was a 1 in 25 variant.
Yeah, that's a nice one, man.
And a lot of people were wanting this one.
Yeah, that's another one I would give. Very cool.
And I think Jock did a couple of variants.
Very cool. Very unexpected.
Awesome.
Yep. So that's it, folks. I'd recommend One Dark Night to pretty much anyone. And it's fun because you can recommend One Dark Night to a casual reader who doesn't have to know really anything about continuity or the mythology of Batman. Someone who's just interested in a fun, high-paced, action-packed Batman story that should be. I would love to see an animated series or animated short for it, whatever you want to call it. So
yeah, these Black Label titles, they're really fun because they're their own little self-contained story. I mean, yes, there are some ties to the main, canon stories, but a lot of times they're just its own thing.
One shots.
One shot, one cow. But all right, that'll do it, folks.
Season 11
Season 11 kicks. Season 11 has begun. Stay tuned.
Can you believe that we started this back in 2015?
Yeah, it's like Bat Force started in 2014, and then Bat Force Radio started in 2015. So,
wow,
we've had almost 100 guests on, industry guests. We've had the late and great Tim Sale, probably one of my most cherished episodes, and we're gonna have some really heavy, hardcore legends come on the show this year as well.
For season 11, we guarantee it.
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
Anyway,
well, if you're still watching at this point, we certainly appreciate it, and we'd also appreciate if you would give us a subscribe on the YouTube, give us a like or a comment. Give us some feedback. We need that feedback from you to understand what content do you want from us. Do you want more stories like this? Do you want more interviews? All of that will help us, build this show so that you enjoy it more.
For sure.
Yeah, and that goes to all platforms. I know, Apple Podcasts. It's not even called iTunes anymore.
Spotify,
SoundCloud. What was the other one? And and YouTube, I guess, would be the fourth one. Wherever the hell else we're on. So, good times. So stay tuned.